the majority of Goku's really early life, his childhood from ages 0 to about 5, they weren't really touched upon, only in some exposition moments when they say that Goku trampled his grandfather to death, and from that day onwards he has been living alone in the mountains as a peaceful young boy. Goku really cared about his grandfather. One of the only times he has ever cried is when he saw him again as a child. It's moments like these that you don't really see Goku do much, but it means that he really cared about his grandfather. The only other time we've seen Goku cry or shed tears was only very recently in the Tournament of Power, and it was for Master Roshi, someone who Goku sees as somewhat similar stature to his grandfather. The point is, Goku's grandfather went pretty much unnoticed because he died very early, but he had a huge influence on Goku's life. The backstory of this was only touched upon in some exposition. It was never really gone over in full detail, but the newest chapter of Dragon Ball Multiverse changes this with the worst day of Goku's life. What happens in this story changes the events of the entire series. It shows exactly how a young Saiyan baby would have been on Earth, even with someone as experienced as Grandpa Gohan. This story shows a more violent and aggressive baby Goku. As soon as he lands on Earth, he is just nothing but trouble. He's punching Grandpa Gohan in the face, he's squirming around, he's trying to do his mission. It just so happens that Grandpa Gohan is an old wise martial artist, and the baby Goku isn't going to be strong enough to take him down. But he definitely is trying, he's squirming around, and Grandpa Gohan even says, "You're so strong, you could have killed someone, it's lucky that it was me who found you." So if Goku landed anywhere else and met some random guy who wasn't a trained martial artist, he probably would have killed them. But Grandpa Gohan takes him in, and for the first few years of his life, he is able to tame him. However, even with all of this kindness that Gohan is showing Goku, even then Goku's still trying to get him when he's least expecting it, even when he's sleeping with a power pole. Eventually, one day, he sits down and begins writing a letter to Master Roshi about this troubled child who's trying to kill him. This letter pretty much contains all of Grandpa Gohan's thoughts about Goku and how he was in his first few years of life, raising him from a crazy monster until his final moments with him. He eventually goes on to ask Master Roshi, "Do you know anyone who could help this child, because he seems very talented and genetically gifted, but he's too crazy to live with just a normal person?" Around this time, after Goku hits his head, Grandpa Gohan takes him out for a walk one night, and it just so happens that night is a full moon. While they're walking around, Goku suddenly stops, his head tilts up to the sky, and he is looking at this full moon. He transforms into an Ozaru right before Gohan's eyes, and he tries to instantly kill him. He destroys their house, and now he's targeting Gohan himself. Gohan's trying to figure out ways to subdue Goku in his Ozaru form. He throws rocks, doors at him, he even gets a pair of scissors and tries to cut off his tail. When Goku swats him away, he hits the ground hard, and without even thinking about it, Goku tramples all over his grandpa. And that's Dragon Ball Multiverse's depiction of how Goku killed his grandfather. Unknowingly, this was the worst day of his life. The Ozaru form would eventually wear off, and time would go on. Many years later, you see an adult Goku sitting by himself during sunrise. This is a reality where Goku did actually go on to destroy all humans. He didn't stop with just his grandpa. The effect that this has had on his mind, he's speaking to himself, replaying scenarios of how he destroyed Krillin and how he wiped out the rest of human civilization. This is the saddest and worst possible timeline for Goku to be in. He's all alone on Earth. The only inhabitants left on this planet are just himself and only a few animals. No one else. But that's gonna wrap up this story, a reality where Goku had the worst day of his life. At this point, he isn't even the main character. Eventually, this story would lead on to Raditz coming to pick him up and Goku having to get readjusted into normal Saiyan life. But that's basically the story of how Goku killed his grandfather. Again, let me know what you think. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next Dragon Ball video.